what did BeatRoute do in 2025 to keep our customers on the latest and greatest of technology? Today, when most solution providers are still doing presentations and showing mock-ups, what is there in our platform that enabled us to roll out production-ready AI at this rapid pace?
Modularity has been one of the key foundation for BeatRoute. So if you build your foundation right, you can add multiple layers. The modular design, the way we have architecture, the whole platform is how we are able to build each and every layer on top of it quite easily.
While AI was one of the big focus areas for our product roadmap this year, the second focus area was functional scalability.
First of all, at the core of my heart, functional scalability. I'm glad you asked. I see enterprise customers need pretty much like a Maslow's need hierarchy. Right at the top, if you take out information security and sort of reliability. Next, I think comes functional scalability.
Recently, you have redesigned the sales team app to be more AI native. What does that actually mean in terms of how the interface works and how it's evolving?
Being a goal-driven sales platform has been at the core of our philosophy since the start. Now, let's say order workflow. Before, a sales rep was just interacting with the screen. Now it can be very intelligent customer insights just packed into very short consumption mode. In terms of order workflow,
last year at the end of 2024 we informed our customers that we were going to build a crack team that will bring the customer requested enhancement turnaround time to 45 days. How close did we come to meeting that promise?
So the whole idea behind the crack team is to create a small, highly focused group which is specially trained to handle high priority items from the customer. So we are now delivering around 70% of our enhancements within 45 days and we are still working on the remaining 30%.
If you lead a retail sales and distribution business, 2025 must have been an exciting year for you. You are finally seeing the massive potential of AI in your route to market, and many of you are already exploring how you can use this potential in the day-to-day operations of your sales teams, distributors, and retailers. On a parallel track, the way trade happens between brands and their channel partners is evolving very fast. Today, many companies are rethinking how their tech stack can go beyond digitization and instead help them mechanize their core goals like territory coverage optimization and growth execution. So what did BeatRoute do in 2025 to keep our customers on the latest and greatest of technology? How did we roll out AI that they can use today? And how did we prepare our customers for 2026 and beyond? I'm joined by our product team and CEO to answer these questions on a special episode of the BeatRoute Podcast. Vinay, I'll start with you. We've shipped 100 plus features and 4 AI agents this year. That is twice the number of releases that we did last year. What does that tell you about the way the BeatRoute platform is evolving?
Look, the way you said, right, the space in retail and distribution is fast evolving, processes are changing, new modes of new channels are emerging. Yeah. So our customers also expect changes, right? And as it is, I think if you look at SaaS as a solution option, I think the biggest advantage of SaaS to our customer segment is that, it fast evolves on its own, right? SaaS keeps you on latest and greatest technology in a very natural, organic way, right? And that's, I think, one big reason that customers should choose a SaaS solution, which often is underappreciated, in fact, right? So being a SaaS player, the onus is on us to fast evolve, right? And look at this day and age, technology is evolving fast. So you have to evolve as fast as well, right? So it basically reflects that realization at BeatRoute that we have done so many releases last year. And besides those releases, among those releases, in fact, we packed 4 AI agents. And that's, again, recognition of how things are changing now.
Kaushal, what was the overarching theme of BeatRoute's platform evolution in 2025?
so at the core, we have been about driving business goals of our retail and distribution clients. And in this year, like we have released a lot of features, lot of AI agents packed into it. So the major theme has been around taking the functional scalability to next level. Since we have a lot of enterprise clients from different retail and distribution verticals with us. So taking that functional scalability a lot higher than what we were at before. And then another is integrating these AI agents, these AI features seamlessly into user journey, and how that can help a sales team in terms of operational help as well as conversational help in terms of what we can provide to sales team. So this has been our two key pillars.
So functional scalability and AI, specifically goal-driven AI. Alok, I have a question for you. This year, BeatRoute has released multiple new AI agents. At the same time, we have upgraded our earlier existing order AI agent as well. Today, when most solution providers are still doing presentations and showing mockups, what is there in our platform that enabled us to roll out production-ready AI at this rapid pace?
We built the platform for retail and distribution from the beginning, not for one business or any specific business vertical. This generalization is helping us build AI agents faster and in more modular way. So key enablers like unified event-driven data layer, providing context and write data to AI agents. We have normalized retail execution, order data, visit data, workflows, user context. So AI doesn't have to hunt for information, right? A modular agent architecture with reusable core guardrails and standards. And the three, real customer uses feedback from multiple companies across different industries, tighter iterations, cycles, real user behavior, not hypothetical, right? Modularity has been one of the key foundation for BeatRoute. So if you build your foundation right, you can add multiple layers. The modular design, the way we have architecture, the whole platform is how we are able to build each and every layer on top of it quite easily.
That makes sense.
Right. And to add to that, Nikhil, it's not something that has been churned out in a few weeks, right? Our team has been at it pretty much since end of 23, right? We narrowed down to a few sort of high impact use cases, high impact sort of AI agents that we could churn out, and our team has been at it, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's hard work. Besides the modularity and the componentization that our platform has helped us in doing this faster, like Alok just said, right?
Naveen, next question is to you. There's a tension in enterprise software. Customers want AI to do more, but they also want control. How do you balance this?
See, it's quite natural for them to be cautious, right? They want to use the power of AI, but at the same time, they don't want any negative impact on their businesses, right? So we follow two simple principles, right, to handle it. We follow strict reliability controls, right, in our AI agents, right? So our AI agents don't make guesses, right? So if user is asking some question, our agents will fully understand it, then only respond. That too clearly stating that what they have understood, right? It's whenever there is a confusion or they are not able to understand properly, they will ask for the more context, right? Yeah. So instead of giving the incorrect or wrong or incomplete information, right, it's better to ask again, right? And the second principle is our AI agents work on assistive mode, not in authoritative mode, right? So whenever user asks for a question or our agents give the insights on customers, right, helping decision making or set the future course of action for the field user, right? It's up to the field user whether to follow it or not. If they found the insights actionable, they can follow it, right? Supreme power always lies with the end user, right? So we simply follow these two principles and giving the full power of AI. And at the same time, we are ensuring that our customers have full control, transparency, and governance over AI.
Makes sense. Kaushal, today, since everyone is trying to add AI to their systems, many AI features many times feel bolted on. Recently, you have redesigned the sales team app to be more AI native. What does that actually mean in terms of how the interface works and how it's evolving?
So see, if you're talking about a lot of independent AI solutions into retail and distribution, you cannot take away the complexity of the base layer of mapping all of the complex business workflows, which is the reality of on-ground execution. Now, we have been in this, so we have been on it. Now, the task is how do we just merge these additional powers, additional agents, which are acting in an assistive mode in the sales rep's journey. Now, let's say order workflow before a sales rep was just interacting with the screen. I as a sales rep, I was going to customer profile, I was just seeing history. Now it can be very intelligent customer insights just packed into very short consumption mode. In terms of order workflow, I should, as a sales rep, I'm feeling like I'm interacting with a third person. So that is what I think our philosophy has been behind bringing these agents, that the sales team should feel as if they are talking to a third person and it's helping them in a very conversational way. Yeah.
So we discussed this earlier, we touched upon this earlier, but Order AI agent has some backend improvements as well as a new interface. Tell me what was the constraint before and what have we done in the Order AI agent now?
So there was no constraints before. It was working on both principles, that there are certain SKUs which are normally ordered and there are certain SKUs which are not ordered but needs to be cross-sold. That is the main sales job. So now what we have done is, since like every other feature, to take in that complexity in different cases, we have bring configurability at the back end also. So in terms of order, companies need to drive different initiatives that at certain times, it's a very push driven sales, that from the very first day, I want the model to be acting as if customer had certain monthly level SKU quota to be achieved and model to work in that way. Otherwise it can be just replenishment based. In terms of cross sell also, there are multiple scenarios where certain SKUs needs to be omitted because it is dependent on some seasonality, or the number of SKUs to be varying by different customer segments. So we have brought in a lot of configurability to how this agent operates now.
So these are all the different variables which might be there in just the order workflow. But in retail, sales and distribution, there are so many variables and so many places where decision making needs to happen. And BeatRoute could have made AI agents for so many of these scenarios. So how did we decide which AI agents should BeatRoute design first?
So that's a very classic question, and in a era of plenty, right, when you have sort of no dearth of ideas, that everybody is so excited about, I can use AI this way, that way, one of the sort of critical things that we have to be worried about, right, that what do we pick to build? Because if we don't do that rightly, we may spend weeks together putting together something that we may find that it's not seeing that option or not giving the value to the customers, right? So fundamentally, we've used sort of 3-point framework, right? First is the impact, right? That are we thinking of an AI agent in assistive mode or in whatever mode, but is it giving the right business impact, right? Can it create the business impact? Second has been that how fast we can roll it out, and how fast customers can actually adopt it, right?
Okay.
If it is something that requires a lot of prep, a lot of dependency on other things, then perhaps we could build it, but then customers won't be able to implement it, right? And there is a third criteria, which is it has to be measurable. Because remember, one of the things customers that would ask at the end of the day is that, how is it helping me? Why should I spend money on it, right? And we have to prove fair and square. In fact, they have to prove to their own sort of management and sponsors that it is giving them a business value. So it has to be measurable, right? So those three criteria framework that we really used to decide, which AI agents to pick first.
And what kind of feedback have we got from enterprise retail customers around BeatRoute's AI agents so far?
I won't sort of, I think early stages, Nikhil, early stages, approximately 3 to 4 months it's been since few customers have, adopted these agents. We are seeing good traction on Copilot. It's really helping managers get instant input on insights that they would otherwise seek into graphs and charts and emails that would come to them with data, and they will have to do it all by themselves. Here, they simply ask the question that they're looking for, right? And Copilot gives them an instant answer, right? So we are seeing good usage. We are seeing good traction with the scheduling AI agent, right? Again, in certain industries, either the frontline or the manager. In some industries, both frontline and managers use discretionary way of deciding where to go, which customers to go, and scheduling agent just brings it out for them that which customers are critical for them. And again, good usage there. Order AI agent has been in picture. We've just taken it to a completely different level, like Kaushal was trying to describe earlier. So there is a good usage there. 5% of orders in some cases where we just rolled out Order AI agent just within a couple of months, 5% orders have been passing through the Order AI agent, right, with the assistance from Order AI agent. So which is maybe a very moderate number, but very, very exciting number for us to begin with. And I think in another 3 to 4 months time, we would have much more solid data in terms of the use as well as the impact.
So Naveen mentioned that AI agents are assistive today. At what point do you think that AI agents in the retail, sales and distribution scenarios can be autonomous? And what needs to happen before we reach that stage?
Look, I think you pick our segment of retail and distribution space or generally the enterprise environment, right? Yeah. I think it will be long, maybe few years before AI agents would work in a completely autonomous mode, right? There also you can pick use cases which are very not that fuzzy.
Low risk? Maybe
low risk use case, yes, low risk use cases, and also where you could see that I guess yes, low risk use cases really in the end, right? Where the adoption would be faster. Otherwise, it's basically the policy making, establishing policies around what is acceptable, what is not, where we would allow an AI agent to be completely working in autonomous mode is something that customers in enterprise segment would take long to establish. And remember, in an enterprise environment, typically there are many stakeholders, right? There's no one single person who can say that, yes, I'm comfortable with this, and then, hey, let's go with it, right? You have to really establish a framework, and that takes time in an enterprise segment, right? So technology may be ready earlier, surprisingly, but customers' policies to adopt those technologies would take much longer. And I think that would delay the adoption of AI agents in autonomous mode. And that's why I'm saying few years.
So while AI was one of the big focus areas for our product roadmap this year, the second focus area was functional scalability. Vinay, give me some customer examples to illustrate why functional scalability deserves to be at the center of our roadmap.
It's first of all at the core of my heart, functional scalability. I'm glad you asked. Yeah. I see enterprise customers need pretty much like a Maslow's need hierarchy, right? Right at the top, if you take out, information security and sort of reliability, right? Next, I think comes functional scalability. And it's one of those things that is not, I think, as appreciated as it should be as a need, from enterprise segment, right? I believe that you can have everything, like you can have easy to use software, you can have easy to manage software, but for an enterprise customer, if it's not scalable, it's garbage. They cannot just live with it, right? They don't want something that works today and business comes with adaptations and demands about how they want to run their process, and the sort of software fails them, right? Or takes much longer to turn around that process change, right? So functional scalability is really, really at the top of need hierarchy of our customers. And your question was that why it is important?
Yeah, why it is important for retail brands.
Precisely for that reason, right?
Specifically, I would like if you could illustrate this with some examples.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was wondering what was the other part of your question. So, right. So look, functional scalability is required at every level, right? So imagine retail and distribution scenario and our SaaS platform sort of enabling the entire sort of end-to-end, workflows for our customers, right? Take an example of, entity level functional scalability, right? Entity level meaning our customers interact with retailers, dealers, and sometimes in some industry verticals, they also have contractors or influencers, as they call them, right? These are entities, right? But would you want to capture the same profile details for a contractor versus a retail outlet versus a dealer? Not really. Would you want to have the same process of onboarding a dealer versus a contractor? Building material industry, a customer would simply go ahead and onboard an influencer based on some KYC details. Whereas for a dealer, there's a lot more like credit worthiness check and this and that complete sort of approval workflow that kicks in, right? So there is entity level functional scalability, then there is workflow level functional scalability, right? Imagine, order taking process, right? If you're taking an order for a for a FMCG company, let's say, right? FMCG company that works in retail channel, that works in modern trade channel, and that also works in HoReCa, right?
Yeah.
Like hotels, restaurants, and caterers, like B2B, right? Yeah. If you're taking an order for typical general trade retail channel, no approval is required, right? There are fixed prices, there are sometimes schemes running, sales rep cannot change prices, right? If you are taking the same order for a modern trade outlet, again, the orders can come in fact naturally from the company, but you have rate contract defined for each of those large format outlets or standalone outlets, right? And the distributor would want to have their price difference claims, right? So that is that added complexity in the same order, but for a standalone outlet or a modern trade outlet, right? You go to a B2B kind of an order, you're taking the same order for a hotel or for a restaurant, right? There at the order level, you might be giving discount, right? As a sales rep. Now, the distributor wants the price difference claim, but he would want it at the order level, right? There's no rate contract, right? Yeah. Each time you're taking an order from a restaurant, you are offering volume and you are giving him a deal, right? So that order needs to go through an approval, number one. And number two, the distributors, claim has to be completely different. Yeah. So I know I took you right into the details, but that's just one example, right? How things change based on what channel you are dealing with. And is your software, is your platform able to scale up to that, right? Is able to facilitate that. That's workflow level scalability is what I'm talking about, right? And that is completely at a different level, at a solution landscape level, flexibility or scalability that you require sometimes, right? For example, we have customers who would come and say, my incentive works this way, my incentive works in another way, right? We have this customer from Indonesia who is in pharma sector. They have a completely different, very complex way of incentivizing their people, right? The way component level or platform level scalability for BeatRoute came in picture there and then offered them a really robust solution is that, we have this incentive module that has the skin about that informs customers, users about how much incentive they could have earned and how much they have earned right now, right? And that's standardized, right? Yeah. But the great part is that we have kept the back end, the rule engine in our middleware, right? And the middleware allows you to write custom logic for them, right? Yeah. So that's really at a component level or platform level scalability. That's why it matters, right? Because enterprise customers have varying needs, right? For different channels, processes, and different types of customers that they're themselves dealing with, right? And if your platform doesn't scale functionally to address those, then as a result, you'll have data silos, you'll have broken workflows, and it just doesn't come together. And in AI era, if your workflow is not coming together, your data is not coming together, you have no AI.
And that makes sense. You mentioned approvals, and that nicely leads me to my next question. Kaushal, I was going through our release notes and I saw that a lot of work was done in 2025 on multi-level approvals. Tell me, why was that important for our customers who belong to different industries within the retail and distribution space?
So as Vinay mentioned, these, let's take example of FMCG company. FMCG company has different channels. So normal retail channel, you don't need any approval because of the volume of orders. But in Horeca, maybe customers have credit limit. Now the user wants to place an order and they want to take an approval against this expired credit limit, or maybe some deal making happening against to a dealer. So there are different cases, and this approval workflow, we wanted to address it holistically. Like there are variations in terms of which customers need approval, what are the triggers, what are different triggers for different workflows requiring approvals, and then corresponding to those customer segment, different kind of hierarchy in terms of who will be approving them. And now the fourth angle which I explored while talking to clients is that they want it at user level also. There are certain users which have come in new into some territory. They only need specific approvals. Others are okay to make deals. And now this applies to all of the workflows. We have orders happening. We have a lot of custom activities, payments, returns, customer additions. So to everything, there are different triggers, there are different approval hierarchies, there are different user level restrictions brought into play. Now we had to address this. We cannot simply build a one level approval because that will leave this workflow kind of incomplete. And for us to actually go and say that, yeah, this approval workflow addresses your all scenarios. So it took a lot of time and efforts.
Okay. So next question to you, Kaushal. Order, stock, return, these are some of the standard activities which are common in retail distribution. And we have had campaign forms to address ad hoc activities that different organizations might be doing on the ground. What did we do in campaign forms in 2025 to take it further?
So see, at a customer, any user, when they visit a customer, they do certain activities. Now in retail and distribution, there is a common trend that there are certain standard activities, collecting order, collecting payment, that can vary. Like somebody is supposed to collect a payment, somebody is not supposed to collect payment. That kind of configurability is already there. Now there are some kind of custom activities which keep coming, as in based on the need, based on varying needs at different customers. We had a campaign form module which was very simply explained a capability of creating different forms. Now with these new releases, we have expanded that capability of making forms to, you can design a workflow altogether. So like taking an example, we have templatized those forms creation in such a way that merchandising is a need. So in merchandising, certain information needs to be captured at different levels, at different category of outlets. Now with these form capability, you can effectively make it to look like a standard merchandising workflow to basically collect information about availability and visibility in the outlets. We have started with merchandising and we are moving towards different categories like expense management, asset auditing, linking these forms to all of the other standard activities which I mentioned. And other category of work, major work which we did was increasing the usability of these. So usability in terms of how you can set it up and how the users are filling these forms into the sales team app. So in short, basically these survey forms have extended to being an independent workflow. You can design it in such a way that one form can only be submitted at customer location while others can be filled outside of the location, just like it was there for other standard workflows.
So it's like you were saying one form could be at the customer location, meaning if it's a customer survey kind of a scenario,
Yeah.
or reporting something from the customer site, or requesting something for the customer like an asset request, right? But others are independent of that, means you can create now workflows, custom workflows, which are simply about people interacting with those workflows, like maybe just a general market feedback, right, from a sales manager, or feedback for your team member from a territory manager, right?
Right.
It has got nothing to do with any particular customer, right? Which was not possible earlier, now it's possible.
Right. So one is from this customer and user context that it does not have to do anything with customer. It applies to general market. Another is what I was saying was, let's say there are 5-6 activities being created for customers. Now, like there is a need of independently geofencing certain activities. So it was there earlier for all of the other standard activities that I can just geofence order while I can allow payment from anywhere. So in these activities also, they are like an independent workflow now. So BeatRoute now has, like BeatRoute does not have 6 or 7 workflows. BeatRoute can have unlimited workflows now.
Absolutely, yeah. Goes back to our point of flexibility or focus of flexibility, right?
So, as far as I understand, van sales is a pretty standard process in retail distribution. You load the vans and send them out on the routes, right? But we spent a lot of time on our van sales capabilities this year. What exactly was the need from the customers that we serve? And what did we do there?
So the process is essentially simple, but there are a lot of users, like it's regular stock picking. So there needs to be certain guardrails behind what can be my outstanding lying in the market. Otherwise, we have seen a lot of cases where users just ran with the money and it came ultimately on the company. Basically, you let your distributors down. You put up those van sales people on those distributors. Now it's company's responsibility to put up those guardrails. And another thing is a lot of ease in terms of reconciliation. There are 2 kinds of reconciliation which are happening for inventory as well as cash. So we have done a lot of work in terms of making it easier. And another is just to safeguard companies and partners' interest. We have built controls around how can credit control be efficiently built? How can there be a check on how much outstanding can there be in the market before company can take some actions. And another is just mapping the complexity of the workflow. At some places, you want any kind of stock which is issued needs to be audited by the other person, needs to be confirmed by the other person. And this applies to all of the actions because there is real exchange of money and stock which is happening at every interaction. Every day, maybe like 3-4 times the salesperson is coming at the warehouse and picking up stock. Now there is a lot of chance of conflict which is happening. There is a warehouse manager, there is a user, and they can simply just say that I did not come and pick this up. And this is a lot of touch points which are happening in terms of both cash and payment. So to bring everything into single interface which is auditable, which has accountability from all of the stakeholders. So that is what we have done.
Interesting. Alok, you exposed our trade promotion module via APIs. What new capabilities or what new value does that unlock for retail brands that was not possible earlier only through the app?
So some of the industry verticals where order and fulfilling systems are different, like SAP or different ERP systems, when the sales rep takes an order from BeatRoute, and when you use the fulfilling system for deliveries or dispatches, the promise is broken because the sales rep would say, hey, when you buy 5 or 10 products, extra 5 or 10 products, you will get extra 5% or extra 10% discount. That promise is broken when you take the order to the fulfilling system, right? So we built this trade promotion API where you would just send us the order details. We will apply the scheme again and send it to you, right? This will make the scheme rules, scheme engine true, and the same promise can be maintained in both of the systems.
So we already had a trade promotion module. We just put it on API, right?
Yeah.
So now not only does our system can consume the trade promotion module natively, but even a independent fulfilling system at the time of preparing the dispatch.
Yeah.
Quantities change and the schemes need to be reassessed, can call our API.
Yeah.
And just reassess the order again, right? The dispatch again, right? Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
another big development was designation-based controls. My understanding is that in BeatRoute, brands could already control workflows by role, and roles are synonymous with hierarchy, right? So what was the need for doing designation-based controls for workflows, and what value does that unlock for retail brands?
Right. So like you said, and as part of the functional scalability with just switch on, switch off, we have had ability to control workflows by the roles, right? For example, you can decide, that sales rep going to a retail outlet can collect an order, so you'll keep that on. And when a sales rep goes to meet a influencer, like a contractor, a plumbing contractor, you will keep the order off because that's not where he takes an order, right? Besides role, we introduced the concept of designation some time back, right? Because we realized that, at the same hierarchy level, customers have really different roles playing the part in sales, right? Imagine a building material company where a sales rep is actually following a lead, right? A project lead, right? And he has to convert, and he has to get a technical person, go to the site to explain the specification of the product better, or maybe demonstrate it in some cases, right? So he's actually taking help of another person on the same customer, right? There are several other examples, like in FMCG industry, a retail outlet, sales rep visiting the same place, and a merchandiser visiting the same place just to do merchandising, right? Or a HoReCa industry, like B2B sales, again for an FMCG company, you're selling mayos and ketchup. You send a sales rep to actually do the sale to a new restaurant, but you get your specialist to go there and demonstrate how the mayos and ketchup can be used, right? Or any ingredient for that matter. And so you have two people going to the same outlet doing two different things altogether. We realized that if we had the designations, why don't we simply make the workflows relevant to tie them to designations? And that was a pretty simple thing to do, just because we have a very foundational, sort of very modular architecture. And it was just a magic unlock for us.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, designations are in the control of the brands themselves. They create designations.
Oh, absolutely.
And then they use these
Right.
created designations to control the workflows.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Kaushal, I know you are going to tell me that I'm trivializing some things, but correct me there. So in retail distribution, setting targets for sales team is considered to be a pretty straightforward process, right? But we spent a lot of time developing a logical auto computation mechanism in the platform, right? Tell me, what was the requirement there and what did we do?
So, being a goal-driven sales platform has been at the core of our philosophy since the start. So now, how this target setting process happens is, let's say I'm the national head, and it starts from the top up, that there is an annual operating plan, AOP business targets which are being set. Now they translate down the hierarchy. And what we tried to map basically is, since there is a lot of customer data which is coming in with almost all of the clients now, so we tried to do a bottom-up thing, that your bottom-up targets matches your top-down targets basically. So what it provides to brand is that it's the targets are not set up based on intuition. Every territory, ultimately every targets becomes the sum aggregation of all of the customers' individual targets. And for that, to do that, we had to bring in a lot of new things, that any kind of customer targets can be set up differently for different users. If there are 3 people going in for different categories at the same customer, that same customer can have 3 targets now. So that for every category, for every territory, for every team, the bottom-up targets and whatever is coming from the top-down targets matches, and the national head, the sales head, has the visibility that if something is not matching, there is something wrong with certain team, and they can just get it corrected. So basically just closing the loop from the bottom, from the top.
Okay. So if there are targets for sales reps, obviously there has to be some incentives, right? And Vinay touched upon incentive earlier, talking about how we made incentives configurable, bringing some control there, making it in a functionally scalable way. Naveen, how did you balance? Like, you can do a lot of things in incentives. Like, so where do you draw the line when trying to make incentives functionally scalable in the platform?
See, I would say incentives are one of the most toughest to productize. Yeah. A lot of customers were coming back to us, right? Because a lot of customers who have the sales team has incentive modules in place, right? So the rules which they want are very custom. There were a lot of variables, a lot of parameters like different factors, seasonality factor, changing targets, changing weights, right? So we knew that creating a one system fit for all incentive module is impossible, right? Okay. But as our product cycle is goal driven sales approach, right? So we knew that we have to do it, right? So we follow the two layer approach. We standardize the front end layer, right? It is a very standardized layer where user can see their progress, goals, right? Potential incentives, right? But at the same time, the backend layer, right? We kept it open, where company can define their own rules, right? We created it in our middleware BeatRoute matrix, right? So company can define their own rules. So instead of getting rigid to use our rigid incentive module, right? Now they have freedom. They can customize their incentive model as per their business need.
Without code?
Without code, definitely.
Interesting. This year, we also introduced digital payments in the customer app that is used by retailers, dealers, and even distributors. Give me some context on that, Kaushal.
So our customer app is used by primary customers of the company, basically the parties like dealers, distributors who place an order directly to the company. So take an example of a paint company wherein they're dealing with at least 10,000 dealers. So collecting payment from these dealers, these primary customers is a humongous task. Companies keep incentivizing them with a lot of debits, credits, payment term schemes. And it's a task. So we have brought in digital payments, and customers are also becoming more open to paying digitally. So for example, in Africa, a lot of companies are going with this concept that they will not allow placement of an order if they don't have the payment into their account. So all prepaid orders. So payment, basically digital payments, just eases this payment collection process, which has been a challenge. And we think that like this becomes an immediate use case into primary payments, and then this will move down from where customers can also pay to their respective distributors. So we are already making inroads into that.
So is this changing trade behavior between brands and their retailers or channel partners? One of the factors behind why we have a native Android customer app for brands building their eB2B channel on BeatRoute?
No, that has nothing to do with the medium of this facilitating this trade. We have had WhatsApp plus a web app kind of an interface for these customers. Now we have just added an option where a native app can also be installed. So native app basically provides easy discoverability, because a brand already has a brand name. So a paints company, if they have an app installed, and from a customer viewpoint also, it becomes easily discoverable because they know that it's there in Play Store, App Store. Yeah. So we have added this third medium, which improves user experience if there is an app. But otherwise, if there is no app, then also it sits in WhatsApp, and customer is connected to the brand via a web app.
Awesome. Retail brands use a lot of different tools in their tech stack, and for enterprise retail brands, integrations becomes very important. We already have public APIs, and we also support integrations with BeatRoute Matrix, which is our integration middleware. What did we do on the integration front in 2025?
So fundamentally, we have not done anything new this year. We have added some new documentation, some new examples there. Earlier, most of the customer would come to us for the integrations. We would do the integration on their behalf. Now we are seeing more than 50% of the customers who have their IT teams are able to do the integration by themselves by just looking at our API documentation.
I'll just add to that, Nikhil, something that we are doing in near future. So it's a roadmap one, but I want to throw that out here. Interesting one. The entire year we are going to take integrations to a next level now. The idea being that, how can we create a lot of webhooks for our partners and our customers. So not only they can integrate, but they can also extend the functionality in many ways, right? So we've had customers looking for some automation when a custom workflow is submitted or when an order is submitted, right? They wanted to process something and then throw the result of that back into the order transaction or throw a notification to somebody, right? And we have facilitated that through the integration middleware, right? But idea is that we create a lot of webhooks so our partners and our customers themselves can extend a lot of functionalities on their own. Right, so that's an exciting piece that we are working on, and we'll take the functional scalability even forward. Right?
We have spoken about AI and we have spoken about functional scalability, which were the two big themes of our product roadmap from this year. There's another thing that many enterprise software seem to miss, that is user experience. Naveen, it is typically said that enterprise software have to balance between functional scalability and delivering a good user experience for the users. How did you balance these this year?
So I would say this is very real problem or real tension, right? Because the more scalable a system will be, there will be more configurations, complex workflows, right? More edge cases, which will ultimately put the pressure on simplicity of UI/UX, right? So we follow the simple principle of keeping the complexity of capability separate from the complexity of experience, right? So we are keeping the complexity of configuration tool at the admin layer or the backend layer where it should be, right? And keeping the front end more simplified, right? And to keep it more simpler, we use the concept of smart defaults, right? So where user can see a default values, which is mostly default for the 80% of the users, right? And the rest of the information can come into the subsequent layer of the UI, which can be shown whenever user needs it, right? And when there are complex workflows, right? And UI need to communicate few things by itself, right? Else it will be more complex, the workflows which you see on the screens, right? So to make it simpler or to prevent it making more complex, we are using uniform design patterns, right? We are using uniform color codes, uniform placement of CTAs, right? Touch interactions, layout logics, right? So that a lot of things can be communicated by UI itself, right? So yeah, we are simply following these basic steps to keep the balance.
I'll ask the follow-up to Vinay. Vinay, how has the user experience evolved in the BeatRoute platform over the past year? And when I say user experience, I'm talking about the end users or the field users as well as the admins or the channel partners, everyone.
To some extent, it relates back to what you said earlier. The scalability and user experience are kind of diagonally, they sit opposite to each other, right? So if you're not careful and don't follow what Naveen just described, right? You might cater to functional scalability at the cost of user experience, right? And it did happen to us to some extent early on. We knew that functional scalability is bread and butter for our target segment, enterprise customers in retail and distribution would expect that from us, for us to be a lasting platform for them. But at times, maybe we were not able to handle the user experience complexity that well, right? And keep it simplified that well, because we were packing in a lot of configurability, a lot of scalability into the workflow. So last year we did recognize that at the beginning of the year, and there were some customer feedback as well, to be transparent, where people would talk about broken workflows or not broken workflows, but really people feeling the jump from one place to another to actually complete the story of data, right? Like for example, you're able to see the order details here, but if you had to get into all the payment details of that, maybe you had to find it by going back. Present screen not giving you a door for that straight away, right? In a more intuitive way, right? So while it was very accessible just on a tap, but not that intuitive. So wouldn't that mean that no user will discover it on his own either in the fourth, fifth time, or you have to train him, right? But we could have just avoided that, right? So Kaushal, in fact, brought this. He passionately argued for this at the beginning of the year that we got to take this bucket, and then if we have any design debt in terms of user experience, we got to get on top of that, right? So last year, besides functional scalability, besides focusing on putting out some agents, AI agents in the play, we did have a bucket of user experience issues to tackle and get on top of.
Now I'm introducing a concept that many retail brands might not have heard of when they speak to their software vendors. Crack team. Naveen, last year at the end of 2024, we informed our customers that we were going to build a crack team that will bring the customer requested enhancement time, turnaround time to 45 days. How close did we come to meeting that promise?
See, the target was to not stall the product roadmap, right? While giving the smoother experience to the customers, right? So we are now delivering around 70% of our enhancements, right, within 45 days. And we are still working on the remaining 30%, right? So definitely, Crack Team has created a win-win situation for us. Our roadmap releases are more smoother now, and also getting good reviews from the customers.
So, what does Crack Team do differently than other teams that enables them to deliver these customer requested enhancements in such a short time?
See, earlier, all customer requests used to come to a single pipeline, right? That is product roadmap development. So this was causing us two major problems. Our roadmap development timelines were getting hampered, and our response to customers were not consistent, right? So the whole idea behind the Crack Team is to create a small, highly focused group, right, which is specially trained to handle high priority items from the customers, right? Analyze the edge cases quickly, right? Create the test cases, automate them quickly, right, and ship them, right? This is a team which is trained to use the AI development tools like Cursor, GitHub Copilot, or Cloud Code, right? This is a team which is trained to create the quickly test cases using the AI tools, write down the automation scenarios quickly, and do the regressions as soon as possible, right? And in terms of the process, actually, for the product roadmap team, system architecture always comes first, because they have to work on long-term scalability, reusability, and core foundation, right? But when it comes to the Crack Team, the priorities are completely flipped. Speed comes first for them, right? They have to unblock the customer, solve the today's need, and keep the business moving, right? So yeah, I think as they are doing the same thing repeatedly, they are getting expertise in that.
So Naveen, so I remember many of our debates, right, about this topic, that how do we set it up, right? And Nikhil, just to lay out the challenge, right? So remember, a SaaS platform built for enterprise segment, right? Like we have solved the problem of long implementation cycles that typically exist with development platforms by giving high degree of configurability, right? Switch on, switch offs on pre-packaged workflows, because we know our audience, we know who is going to use us for sales, and retail and distribution is our space, right? So it was possible for us to pre-package all the workflows and give these n number of configurations, switch on, switch off, really, right? So that's how we solved the problem of, quick to deploy versus long implementations of development platforms, really, right? And and the scalability that we have been able to offer compared to sort of narrow software, right? But there is one complaint that customers always have had, right, about SaaS software, right? And it really depends on, how is that software built? How is the SaaS software built, right? Have you built it too narrow to a use case? Have you built it scalable? But even if we want to take the game even further while being scalable, right? That if you are saying that I have a need that fits into my purview of problems that I'm solving, scope of problems that BeatRoute is solving for its customers, but not yet productized, right? I have to do an enhancement, right? But customers would not like it that if you take 4 months, 5 months to do that enhancement, to turn that around, right? So we were making that promise to be 90 days, right? Earlier on, before last year, right? We said we are going to take the game completely to a different level. We are going to have a sort of big, audacious, hairy goal of delivering it in 45 days instead of 90 days, right? And that's what Amin was saying, that 70% of developments at the year end we have delivered in 45 days compared to 90 days, and the remaining 30% we will get there, right? So it was like a big sort of industry level problem, right? And perception problem as well, because it's not a problem with every software. If your software is scalable, if your SaaS is scalable, it is not a SaaS problem. It is a product specific problem. So we had solved it by functional scalability. We have just taken the game to another level.
If you could go back to January 2025 and change one prioritization decision that you made, what would that be?
The benefit of hindsight, like they say, is so sweet and so wonderful. So I think it's a hypothetical question. No problem. I mean, no use going into that, right? At the year end, we would see what has helped us get more customers, what has helped us win more love from existing customers, what has helped us delight some end users, right? And I can count so many of them, and Kaushal can get into listing few of them, right, that which did not sort of do any of this, right? While we thought they would, but they did not, right? And that's a bet you take, right? So there will always be that few items, Nikhil, right? Funnily enough, I can count some that I wish I had never had to do it, but we did. and so again, let's not get into the list, but there were a few which we thought either we wished we could not have done it, we didn't have to do it, or we did, but they didn't pay us back that much, right, compared to the others.
Retail brands deserve and demand to be on the latest and greatest of technology. Vinay, what is our product roadmap for 2026?
2026, okay. Let me first give you a summary of 2025 though, right? Just to put it in the context, right? In fact, 24 we began our AI journey by setting up a team, right? 25 was very well sort of intentionally focused around two areas, right? As an enterprise focused platform, we want to continuously work on functional scalability. We took that forward, right? You heard us talk about how we took campaign form to being forms to actually full-fledged custom workflows, right? You heard about taking van sales processes to a completely different level. You heard about designations unlock on workflows and the control that the customers have got about how they can manage different teams going to same customers doing different things, and etc. And many of that, right? So functional scalability was one bucket. AI introduction in the platform, a journey. I think it's a 3 to 4 year journey for us that I can foresee at least now, and I'm pretty sure it will continue that point onward as well. But in that 3 to 4 year journey, the first wave was completely about having bunch of high impact assistive sales agents, which are taking the possibility of what sales reps and sales teams are able to do forward, right? Assist them in things that they were not able to do humanly, right? And there are a few other things that weren't possible earlier, right? We have enabled that, right? For example, instant answer to questions, right? Which just wasn't possible, right? We have enabled that with Copilot now, right? So 4 agents, right? Copilot that answers your questions instantly on your data, on your insights. AI scheduling agent that helps you schedule your visits to critical customers. particularly important where discretionary visits are there, particularly FMCG managers or rest of the industry, even frontline, right? Or customer insights agent, which gives you an agenda of what you need to be talking to a customer about, right? And lastly, the order AI agent that not only just now gives you order recommendations based on past purchase history, but also has a very sophisticated mechanism of cross-sell recommendation, right? Based on what the other cohorts are buying and etc., right? So functional scalability, AI agents, a small bucket of user experience items that we had taken as a debt that we had created, we had left, right? And we got on top of that, right? Which I think has delighted our end users, would delight even more such end users as they run into those. Talking about 26, I think the big onus now that we take on ourselves is to make our AI agents more adopted, take their impact from early usage to a level where users are loving them from a perspective how they're actually able to either save their time or give them more sales, right? Help them with their targets, right? And at an organization level, companies have to be able to conclude that these AI agents have given them real value, right? So focus on fine-tuning those agents, making them more usable, and ensuring that measurability of their impact is there, right? Is going to be our focus on that AI agent segment. And on the first bucket, functional scalability, it's a timeless principle for us. We are going to continue to make our platform more scalable as we go forward. So 26 is going to be broadly around these two areas.
It was such a wonderful discussion with you guys. It's always great to see how you guys are planning the roadmap, how you were able to conceptualize things and then actualize them. I look forward to meeting you guys again, at least some of you, on the January product webinar that we are going to do, where we'll be inviting our customers, we'll be inviting many of our prospects and showing them what we have built, giving them a live demo, answering their questions. I look forward to that.
Great, and I had fun as well, Nikhil. And appeal to our customers, if you are listening to this podcast, please send in your feedback as comments on whatever we have done over last 1 year. That will be such an invaluable thing to have with us while we plan and execute our next year.